Before we get into high performance and getting more done by doing less, I want to tell you how I got here. I'm originally from Yemen. If you don't know Yemen, Yemen is a country in the Middle East. It's one of the poorest countries in the region. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. I thought that I wanted to become the richest man in the world, to provide for my family, because that's the stereotype. Eventually, I went into finance and banking. I studied economics and finance in London. I graduated at the peak of the global financial crisis, and I thought that my future was not set at all. Eventually, I worked in the city in London. I joined Bloomberg, I met a lot of interesting people, and then I moved to Dubai, and I worked with Morgan Stanley. After 4 years with Morgan Stanley, that business was sold to Credit Suisse, and I moved to Credit Suisse. So if you get a sense, my background is really in investment advisory, and I'm an investment advisor by profession. During that time when I was in Credit Suisse, it really hit me because I didn't know what it was that kept me feeling completely unfulfilled. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought my purpose was to provide. That was what I was learning about myself when I was growing up. So I had a lot of emotions that I kept bottled up inside, and I didn't know how to express myself. So I kept pushing. And I even probably self-diagnosed myself as depressed because I'm a guy, and guys don't like to talk about their emotions. Eventually, I decided to do a simple change, which is my environment. So I found a role in Cyprus, and I moved to Cyprus. I joined one of the big 4 companies, and I was the second in command of one of the new service lines. Now, you might be wondering, why Cyprus? Well, I met my wife in London. She's originally from Cyprus. We used to come to this island regularly, and I loved everything about it. The people, the culture, the foods. It just really connected to everything that I wanted to do with my life. So I joined the firm, and we did well, and we were growing. I had a team under me. I was the head of the department. Things were looking fantastic from the outside. But inside, I completely felt exactly the same. Depleted, unfulfilled, probably even more sad. Then everything changed in March of 2022. I got COVID, and I went into a room. And during that time, I wanted to understand what my purpose was in life. So I used to read a lot of books by then, and I tried meditation, but I wasn't a good meditator. But I said, there's nothing else to do, because that feeling was still there. I had a successful career, successful family, working in a great place, living in a nice place, but still that feeling was there. So I decided to meditate to answer one question, and that question was, what is my purpose in life? So I closed my eyes and I kept repeating that question, what is my purpose in life? What is my purpose in life? I thought it was to serve. Now, after 40 minutes of just complete silence and darkness, I saw one word, which was solve. Now, I didn't know what that word meant. I thought that I was supposed to serve. So I slept, woke up, went through YouTube to watch some documentaries or podcasts to kill time, and I stumbled upon a podcast called Diary of a CEO. Now, that was the first time that I watched this podcast, and the guest on that episode was someone by the name of Mo Godat. Mo used to be an executive in Google in Dubai. He had all the toys that I was aspiring to have, the cars, the authority, the travel, everything. During that episode, Mo shared how he tragically lost his son due to a routine operation, and that transformed his life. He gave everything up and decided to write a book. Now, the reason I'm sharing his story with you is because that title of the book is called Solve for Happy. And that hit me because I knew that that was one of the biggest signals for me to take action. So I left that room and the word that I saw, and I told my wife, I'm not happy with my life and I want to change it. And she said, I know, I've been seeing you for many years. And that started my journey of self-rediscovery, understanding exactly what it is that I wanted to do, which was to find out what I wanted to do. So I did a lot of assessments, I took a lot of courses, I invested in what my purpose was. And ultimately, I came to understand that I can be a consultant or a coach. Now, I've done consultancy, like my journey has been consistent and great on paper, but I didn't love it. So I thought, let me try to explore what this coaching business is. I thought coaching was like a football coach, which is something that I get a lot in Cyprus. But coaching isn't. Coaching is a practice. It's a partnership. And the more that I got into it, the more that I felt it was completely aligned with my purpose, with solving. And that put me on the trajectory that I am on today. So today I'm an executive coach. I work with leaders. We solve problems. We do that through three things: habits, mindset, and strategy. This is my own framework. And my definition of high performance is getting more done by doing less. Because I thought when I was working and doing all those amazing things that I needed to do more. I didn't know what I was doing. And eventually that led me to burnout. So what we're going to be doing today in this 1 hour is I'm going to keep you engaged. I'm going to do that through storytelling. I'm going to invite you to do some exercises. And I'll just ask you to trust me, because that's how the relationship works. By the end, you'll probably see what high performance from your own perspective, and you'll decide whether you want to do more or less. So let me begin by sharing a story with you. This story is about lumberjacks, Billy and Bob. Billy and Bob are lumberjacks. Every morning at 9 a.m., they would both wake up. Billy would grab his axe, go to the forest, and start chopping down trees as much as he can, from 9 until 5, continuously chopping down trees. By the end of the day, he would chop down 10 trees. Bob would wake up at 9, go to the same forest, chop down trees, continuously swinging his arms, and then at 1 p.m., he disappears. He goes somewhere and returns at 2 and continues chopping down the trees. By the end of the day, Bob has chopped down 12 trees, while Billy has chopped down 10. This happens day after day, until one day, Billy looks at Bob and he tells him, Bob, we wake up the same time, we go to the same forest, and we chop down trees, and I continue chopping down trees from 9 to 5. You come, but then you disappear every day. Where do you go? And Bob looks at him and he says, I go to sharpen my axe. And that's the point that I wanted to make. This is what real high performance is. The definition that I've come across is that high performance does not mean more hours. It's actually more impact. It's finding that shift. If anyone here knows the Pareto effect, the 80-20, this is high performance. Finding the small changes that create a large impact. Oops. I had animation, so if I click fast, you know what's the problem. So it's the right work. It's not all the work. Sharpening your axe. It's about taking time to recover, because that's the essence of high performance. It's not about working 12 hours a day and not taking care of yourself. Because, to be honest, that works. I know, because I used to do it. But it's not sustainable. It's not consistent. You'll eventually hit that wall. And it's about having those systems. Systems beat heroes all the time. That's what it is. Finding the system that is right for you. Because we all are different. And that's what makes us special, but also the same. And that's sustainable results. That's what makes the difference. So ultimately, less equals more. And this is the message that I want to leave you with. Less equals more. So I thought, let's experience this together, because what better way than to give you something to think about? Do you trust me? Yeah? Wow. You trust very quickly. Okay, so I'll invite you to stand up, please. Great. I should be a teacher. Okay, now what I want you to do is take your dominant hand, whether it's the right or left, and just put it in front of you. Yeah? Okay, great. So I want you to feel what your hand is doing. Just look at your hand, feel it. Now close your eyes. And take a moment to think about that feeling. Imagine that you're looking at your hand. How do you know that your hand is there? Now, put your hand down. Keep your eyes closed. How do you know that you put your hand down? Or is it still there? Okay, great. So open your eyes. Who here wants to share what they felt? Yeah? There was weight in the air. Great. Thanks for sharing. So, you can take a seat. Thank you for taking part in that. What I wanted you to experience was that weight, that feeling. Where was your mind? What were you thinking about? The hand. Were you thinking about this room? The people next to you? Where we are? The city? The country? Work? Kids? I have kids. I didn't think about them in that moment. That's how we do more by doing less. It's bringing our focus and attention to the things that matter. And what you just proved to yourself is that you can actually do that, because we all have that skill. It's not something that we need to really push ourselves to find. It's right there. And this reminds me of this quote: I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. That's focus. That's the essence of being a master in your own craft. And that's what we can do. And that skill and practice of what we're doing, just simply by focusing our attention in what we want, we can bring our attention to anything that is there. So what's the opposite of high performance? From the story that I've shared, you probably have some idea, but let's explain. It's being busy, reactive, always urgent. How many people here have so many things on their plates? No time to do anything, always rushing. It's always urgent. There's one more thing to do. That's great, but it's also a recipe for disaster. It's high effort, low leverage. Imagine taking a paintbrush and painting this whole room. It's going to get the same results if you use a bigger paintbrush, or maybe get some help. Everything matters and nothing moves. When we focus our attention on everything, we focus our attention on nothing. So it's just doing one thing at a time. 2, sometimes if I brush my teeth, I can think about what I'm doing, but some people would argue that that's not even healthy. No recovery. So it's really important to also find time to recover. And all of us have different types of recoveries. There's no one size that fits all. It's not about cold plunges, it's not about food, it's not about sleep. It's about what works for you. And short-term wins, long-term burnout. This is where we push ourselves. Sometimes it does help. Sometimes it is helpful. And sometimes we need to communicate with each other that this is actually so important for me to focus my time on that I'm not going to be able to do anything. And that's really, as a father, partner, what I do with my wife. I communicate if I'm busy that I need help. Ultimately, all of that reach to burnout. So let's throw in some statistics, because burnout doesn't only target the weak, it targets the best. So 63% of employees who frequently experience burnout call in sick. That was me. I used to call in sick once a month, sometimes twice a month. Sometimes I was sick, sometimes I was not sick. But that's me. Imagine the productivity loss in those companies, the ones that I've mentioned before. I'm not the only one. 83% of professionals say burnout from work can negatively impact their personal relationships. So it's not just the companies that I worked for or my colleagues, it's my personal relationships. It's my family, my friends. It impacts everyone. This is not just a good thing to have. This is real life. And the one that really struck me was 745,000 people have lost their lives due to heart disease. This is from the World Health Organization. I think this number is low, but I think if it's even 1, then that's too high. Because there's nothing worth dying for at work. Work gives us purpose, and that's so important. But it's understanding what is the purpose there that we could drive ourselves to do even more. And these are the 5 phases of burnout, and I'll explain them very briefly in my own experience. There's the honeymoon phase. This is where you first get a job. It's where I got my first job, Bloomberg. Then I moved to Dubai, and everything's great. Yes, I'll do everything. I'll work overtime. I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. I used to stay until 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Sometimes I used to go play football or exercise and then go back to the office to finish the things that I wanted to finish. I remember I was very junior, I used to print out the decks, and while they were printing, I was like, let me do some push-ups, because we squeeze in as much as we can. And then there's the onset of stress. It's when you start noticing that there is stress. Maybe you don't know what it is or how to explain it, but you know that it's there. Maybe it's sleepless nights. Maybe it's night sweats. I experienced that. I used to wake up lots of nights, drenched in sweat, thinking that I was sick, that I was dying. But it wasn't, it was just stress. I didn't understand those signals. And then that stress becomes chronic. It's just an ongoing thing, never stops. And ultimately burnout. That's phase 4. Phase 5, it becomes a habit. You just continue doing it. It's the same thing. You're burning out here, but you don't stop. You just continue. You burn out. It's part of the process. Every day is the same. How are you doing today? Great. That's the answer for, I don't know, maybe. Yes, it couldn't be better, exactly. So that's why I wanted to tie it to purpose as well. And this quote is in the essence of the framework that I'll share with you. If one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. And that's so true, because if you just go onto a ship or a car, or you just do anything in life and you just go with it, not knowing what you want to do, then it doesn't really matter where you go, because anywhere is somewhere. This also resonates with Alice in Wonderland, for anyone wondering. And this is the framework. It's not very clear, but I'll explain what it is. In the middle of the framework is purpose. Now, we all have different definitions of purpose. I'll explain it very briefly, but there's 2 levels of purpose. There's outer purpose, and there's inner purpose. Outer purpose is the things that we do, the things that drive us. What I'm doing now, this is outer purpose. Inner purpose is something that is even deeper. It's what connects you to your own consciousness. For me, that's right now. This is my inner purpose. These 2 have been aligned for the past few years, but they were not, and I didn't know what to do. That's the essence of everything. Once your purpose becomes so deep, everything else just falls into place. And you can start anywhere. There's the habits, the mindsets, and the strategy. Habits are things that we continuously do. It could be even the way that we communicate and talk, which we will experience. Mindset is what we actually have in our subconscious that we might not be aware of. And strategy is actually creating those steps and goals to actually achieve the things that you want to achieve. Okay, so you were all lovely with doing that exercise. Do you want to do another exercise? Yeah? Love the enthusiasm. A little bit louder. So this is called the why exercise. What I'd invite you to do is to look at the person next to you. So I know it might be a little bit uncomfortable, but trust me, I feel very uncomfortable. So you could just make fun of me. Look at the person next to you, and I want you to ask them these questions. And we're going to go both ways. So each person will get 3 minutes. The first person, let's say person A, will ask person B, what do you do? Just in case. Maybe you're friends, so you know what you do, but just to get an idea of what that person does. And then they'll tell you, I'm a broker, or an advisor, or a consultant, or just somebody who likes to watch people talk about their experiences. And then you say, why does that matter? And that person will answer. And you ask again, why does that matter? And you'll get a different answer. Why does that matter? You'll get another answer. Why does that matter? We'll do that 5 times. And we'll see what comes up. This is a short exercise to start getting to the root of the purpose of what is driving you. Does it make sense? Yeah? Excited? Excellent. Okay, so I'll keep time. It's 41, so, okay. I'll say switch in 3 minutes. So, you could do it in groups of 2 or 3. Okay. I'm loving the energy. This is exactly how I was manifesting it last night. I was up at 3 a.m. just praying that people will engage in my exercises. Thank you so much for that. Would anyone want to share anything that came to mind or the exchange in experiences? Yes, please. Maybe we can get a mic. Thanks.
Yes. My understanding was by the fourth why, I understood that nothing matters.
Great. All the time or just now? Or
Well, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. Why does that matter? Blah, blah, blah. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? Oh, it doesn't.
And when you say it doesn't matter, what does that motivate you to do?
Not kill myself, if that's where you were going. I don't know, actually.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Great.
Is it?
Yes. But that's the point, because if we just look at the surface level of any answers that we have, and then we just move on, but we wouldn't know. But reaching that level of we don't know, and I'll influence a bit, but just to say I don't know yet, that word actually reprograms the subconscious mind, that you will find what it is that you want to do. And purpose changes. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. This is one misconception probably that I went through when I was looking for my purpose, thinking that there's one purpose. But how depressing is it if you find that purpose, you finish it, and then what? Nothing. But then could be another purpose after you retire and do something else. A purpose could be brushing your teeth. I keep saying brushing teeth a lot. I brushed my teeth this morning. Great, thank you so much for sharing. So that was just a really brief exercise of trying to understand what is purpose. So what I wanted to touch on is briefly how we can understand our subconscious mind. And this is through the habits of talk. So part of my training, I became a master NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming. Basically what I do is I notice behaviors, words, and actions, and notice things. In NLP, we view the world in 3 different filters. There's generalization, distortion, and deletion. Generalization is when we say everything and everyone all the time. I can say, I actually did say, when we walked in this morning, I was like, wow, there's no one here. That's a generalization, because if I really challenge myself, I was there. That's someone. There's other people there. So that's a way to challenge it. Distortions are saying, if this, then that. If my wife walks in the house and she's looking a little bit angry, I tell myself, she looks angry, I did something. That's a distortion. Doesn't mean that I did something. Maybe somebody cut her off in traffic. Maybe she forgot to pick up the kids. We'll not get into that. Deletions are when we focus on one thing and we ignore everything else. So, for example, if I tell you, can you find something blue in this room? Yeah? Okay. It's my shirt. But if I tell you, okay, you're focusing on that, did you notice that there's other blue things? Maybe you're wearing a blue badge. That's how we focus our attention, when we just delete things. This can go on for a long time, but we won't go through that. I'll just introduce you to generalizations, more specifically model operators. This is a way that we can understand our own subconscious, the things that give us motivation. Model operators of necessity and possibility. How many people here say, I need to do something? Yeah, I should, I must. What about I can't? These words are signals of how our subconscious mind has been programmed. Now, these are mainly for the native speakers, but they can also be applied to different languages. What we're going to do is an exercise. And because we're all different, some of these model operators actually might be beneficial for you, while they're not beneficial for someone else. Somebody might say, I should do something, and it works for them. While if I say I should do something, then it means like I'm not really motivated to do it. While if I say I want to do something or I get to do something, this is my own perception, I actually want to do it and I get to do it. Even if it's something not really enjoyable, I can influence my own being by saying certain words. So we're going to do a very quick exercise. So what I'm going to do is, there's this sentence, I blank to finish this project. What I want you to do is to notice your body motion. How do you move when I say certain words? Do you lean forward? Do you lean backward? Do you do different actions with your body? Just notice your body. There's no right or wrong. Everything is dependent, and everyone is different. Yeah? Ready? Okay, so I need to finish this project. I must finish this project. I can finish this project. I can't finish this project. I get to finish this project. I get to, typo. I should finish this project. So, before we get into that, who felt emotion towards or away from certain words? Yeah, I see you're nodding. What was your word, if I can ask? Must. You didn't like? Must or need? Which ones did you like? Great. So when you have something that is a task, a project or something, this is something that you could apply because you already know what motivates you. Going to the dentist. I don't like dentists. But if I tell myself I get to go to the dentist, it completely changes my experience because there is a dentist. They're going to help me. They're going to clean my teeth if they don't take them out. But like that gives me the opportunity of really experiencing life in a different way. But if I say I must go to the dentist, I'll probably not enjoy that at all. Thanks for sharing. So words change worlds. This is the message. What we say to ourselves matters more than we actually know it. And if we go even deeper, when we say things to ourselves in the morning and the night, it's even more impactful because our subconscious never sleeps. So if we sleep saying that I really am tired and I'm bored and I don't want to do anything, your body will say, okay, we're tired, bored, don't want to do anything. But if we change the way that we say things, it can change worlds. I experienced this with smoking. I used to smoke. And when I was smoking, with literally moving my hand towards my mouth, and I told myself I don't smoke anymore, something didn't match. And eventually, my body was like, yeah, I don't smoke anymore. I don't do that. Those were good days, by the way, but it's a different story. Great, okay, so one more exercise. What's really stopping you? So going back to the purpose exercise that we've done before, and with the pair or triple that we were next to each other, what I invite you to do is person A will share with person B, and person A will say something tied to their purpose, whatever came up in the answer. For example, you said, nothing is worth it, or it's not important. I'm using my words, maybe it's something different. But what you can then say is, I can't find my purpose. I can't do A, B, and C. I can't realize this. So once you say that, person B will challenge that can't. This is something that you can use on yourself and also your team and anyone by just saying, what's stopping you? Notice how their body will change and they'll share what's stopping me. When they share that, you ask them again, what's really stopping you? The answer will change. So we'll do this 1 minute each way. So it's going to be really quick because I might be running out of time as well. Does it make sense? Yes? Okay. I'll keep track of time like I did before and go ahead. Thank you for participating. How quick was that? Very quick, very short. Wanted more time? No time? Not enough time? The purpose of that as well is because you're going to start noticing these words. And if you just notice one word, just the word can't, in different languages as well, Just notice that word and challenge yourself or someone else, especially if it's someone in your team. Especially if you're a parent and your kids tell you they can't, you can ask them, what's stopping you? What's in your way? What's preventing you? They'll come up with answers, and you don't need to solve anything for them. That's coaching. Great. Okay, so who knows this quote by Henry Ford? Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Yes? It's so true, isn't it? And did you notice that there's can and can't? So he's actually using that, maybe subconsciously, but that makes a huge impact, because if you think that you can, then you can. And if you think that you can't, you're probably right. So what we've done is we've talked a little bit about purpose. We did that exercise. We talked about the habits, how we talk to ourselves and what we say, the certain words that tied into the mindset. Now, strategy. And strategy for me is actually creating a goal and getting to that. Who's excited about goal setting? Okay. So let me tell you a story. About 2 years ago, I went to a coaching conference, and one of the people that was on stage, he was so flamboyant and explaining how he does research to understand how AI coaching is also as impressive as human coaching. And he showed us graphs about the goals and how people are reaching them with a human coach and an AI coach. I was blown away, and I knew that AI is here to stay, so I said, I need to do something. Notice the word. So I started researching, and I said, okay, I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to create an AI coach, because my clients will benefit from using an AI coach. So I found a company, I got trained, and I started prompting. And I created AI Coach Alexis. Now, this is the basic prompt that I created. There's more to it, and there's different stages. Because coaching is not about giving answers. People can go into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or anything and ask, and you'll get an abundance of answers. There's so much information. What this coach does, this AI tool, it just asks questions to help the person using it figure out what they want to do. So how did I go about this? I used the goal-setting strategy. Before I tell you what it was, I'll explain why it's so important. So according to research, especially by Harvard Business Review, 95% of a company's employees are unaware or don't understand its strategy. It's almost 100%. So people just go to the office, they experience presenteeism, and things just move on. People who write down their goals get their goals about 42% more likely that they will happen. That's incredible! Like, even if your goal is not achieved, just writing it down actually increases the chances of achieving that goal. And it could be anything. Personal goals, physical, professional, relationships, it could be anything. And about half of workers are not completely clear about what they're supposed to do at work. When I left my job, I had no idea what to do. Sat down in front of my screen and I was like, now what? So it's so important to actually have an idea of where we want to go. But there are so many goal-setting frameworks. There are SMART goals, there are smarter goals, there are smartest goals, there's clear goals, fast goals, hard goals, blah, so many. Which one is right? But like everything in life, we're all different. Now, I'll share with you what I've experienced that has helped me, and I actually use with my clients as well. To get there, I want to tell you a very short story. Does anyone know this guy? Has anybody seen this guy? No. Yeah, it's really not clear. This is Andy Grove. He was the CEO of Dell. Now, he escaped the Holocaust with his family, went to the US, started from nothing, went into San Francisco and that area, and this was in the 60s, met people who actually created Dell. He was the third person. People thought that he was one of the founders, but he wasn't. But he was always part of that group. Eventually, he became the CEO. What he used to do is, does anyone know Peter Drucker, the person who came up with KPIs and how to measure things? And he took that philosophy a little bit differently. And he said, instead of just measuring what's happening, instead we're going to create a process, because goals are not just an end result, it's a process. and he came up with something called objectives and key results, OKRs. One of the people that worked with him is this guy. This is John Doerr. John Doerr is a venture capitalist now. After leaving Dell, John became an investor. He's actually one of the first investors in Google. When the founders of Google approached John to ask him for an investment, he was blown away by what they were doing. And Google, by the way, wasn't the only search engine at that point in time. But he loved Sergey and Larry. And he said, okay, I'll invest. And when he invested, he asked them, what's your strategy? How do you actually create things? And they said, we don't know, we just do things. And he said, great, I'm going to introduce you to OKRs. And to this day, Google still uses OKRs. Microsoft, the big companies, everyone still uses OKRs. He also wrote this book, Measure What Matters. And it explains Andy Grove's philosophy, because Andy didn't write the book, but he came up with this philosophy, and he explains it. You can find a lot of information online, free videos on YouTube based on what he talks about, and he'll explain it better than me. So what I saw work is to combine SMART goals with OKRs, because OKRs is just creating the objectives, what we want to achieve, and also the key results. But we want them to be specific, and that's what SMART goals are. And in companies, when I used to work, there were lots of SMART goals that we used to create, but we never followed up. We didn't know how it works. So I'll tie this in with the story. This is what an OKR is. It's not very clear because it's far, but I'll explain. It's an objective of what you want to accomplish. It's that North Star. A good objective is significant, concrete, action-oriented, inspirational, so it has to be something really big. For me, when I was building AI Coach Alexis, my goal was, I want an AI coach that serves my clients. Key results are, how will you get there? If that was the objective, it's basically like the stepping stones to get to that objective. This is my OKR for AI Coach Alexis. By the fourth quarter of 2025, I'm going to create a working AI coach based on my own framework and approach that I can share with my clients as measured by. So that's what I wanted to achieve. The first one was complete the AI course by April 2025. Pretty easy. Found a course, found people, did it, completed it, tick. And the great thing about OKRs is that it's either a yes or a no. So there's no ambiguity. Finished. Second one, create first AI coach prototype and share with the audience, the people that I used to work with. I actually presented to the people that I was studying with, and they found it really helpful. I was like, great. Second one, tick. Third one, share it with at least 50 people. So I messaged all the people that were into the AI space, people that I just met, other friends, network, and I did a survey. What do you think about this AI coach? Test her. Is she good? Will you pay for her? I got responses, and then I knew what I wanted to do, and I decided whether it's going to be a paid service or not. Now, the last one is migrate and rewrite the prompt. That's the prompt that you saw. Because the platform that I used, it's a company that uses Gemini, based in Germany, so it's built by coaches, it's ethical, doesn't store data. They migrated their platform, so I had to recreate Alexis, which was great because I improved her. She's working, but she's not perfect, but she's there. And the reason I'm showing you all of this is because that's a goal-setting process to follow. Now, have I created a working AI coach? Yes, goal achieved. Things to keep in mind about OKRs. The first one will suck. I wrote down my first one. I still have it taped to my bedroom wall. It was horrible. But it's the process of learning, and this is how we learn. When we make mistakes, we learn. Second one is aim for 5 OKRs, because if it's more, it becomes too overwhelming. What I do usually is I have 3 professional goals for my business and 2 personal. One of my personal is to learn Greek. But how do you measure? How do you learn Greek? OKRs. By a certain date, I'm going to be able to have a specific conversation with a native, fluently speaking Greek friend, as measured by find a Greek teacher by April, introduce myself. So I literally broke everything down and created a goal. Review your OKRs on a quarterly basis, so this becomes like a process. It's not something that you do it once and then you forget. And for every objective, you have 3 to 5 key results. Same thing. If it's too much, you don't want to do it. If it's too little, you don't really know if you achieved your goal, or maybe your goal is not ambitious enough. What they used to do, I don't know if they do it in Google still, but what John Dewey talks about in Measure What Matters, they post their OKRs on their desks so that everyone knows what everyone is working on. So if people are walking around, they see, oh, this person is working on this new prototype. Oh, it's interesting. Can we help you? And that becomes like the most important thing for that person, just their OKRs, nothing else. And this is a two-way process. Management creates it, they share with employees, and the employees also share their feedback. So it's a two-way process. Remember, smart OKRs, so it has to be specific as well. So this is what we've kind of covered. It's been around like 50 minutes or so of me talking and you doing some exercises. And it really depends on what everyone wants to use this for. But it's kind of like an easy framework to follow. Now, what I want to share before I wrap up is if you want to hear more, because like there's a lot that I talk about, either through my weekly newsletters or even through conversations, I talk about all NLP strategy, performance, and how to do things. When you scan the code, I'll just ask for your name and email, and then you'll get a manual about high performance, and you'll get another email from me. Now, to wrap up, and we'll have time for Q&A, I want to share with you this quote from Steve Jobs. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation that is to come. This was a storytelling workshop, if you haven't realized, because I wanted to captivate your attention, and I wanted to deliver messages while keeping you engaged. This was me doing less than more. Because if I just threw all of those frameworks, those discussions, those experiences that I went through, you'd probably think that it's too overwhelming, that you wouldn't figure out anything. But I just told you stories. And stories really connect with us. Because when we were children, our parents used to tell us stories. And that's how we relate stories to everything that we do. So thank you so much for taking time to join us. I hope you found that valuable and that you can take some things with you.